I don't know about you guys, but I'm slowly starting to get used of having no Formula One in my life. You know, getting up on a Sunday, getting up on a Saturday to watch qualifying, to watch the race. It's just, yeah, I'm used to it now. Getting up, getting on with my day, doing what I normally do, have some breakfast, have some dinner, watch a bit of YouTube, bit of Netflix. And yeah, I'm just used to having no Formula One in my life. Said no one ever. Guys, I'm going crazy here. I'm going absolutely crazy. I need something to watch. I need Formula One. Formula One is my life, and because I've got no friends and yeah, I've got nothing. But nevertheless, Formula One hopefully can make a return in July in Austria. Fingers crossed if everything goes to plan, and hopefully we can get racing once again soon. And then of course we have got the F1 2020 game coming up soon, which I'm looking forward to. That is something to look forward to. But anyways, hope you guys are safe listening to this, or watching this rather. We have got another F1 24/7 news coming your way, where we look back at the week of F1 news, and I pick out 3-4 stories that I think are worth talking about. Now, the first one is a big story, a big story actually coming out of Formula One, Ross Brawn as well. And he says in an interview with Sky Sports that the new F1 cars are definitely going to happen in 2022. Now, as we all know, the new regulations were supposed to be coming in for 2021. However, with what is going on, the global pandemic, they were changed to just so, trying to reduce some costs for the smaller teams. Back in March, that was agreed by all 10 teams to delay the regulations by a further year. However, Red Bull boss Christian Horner said a few weeks ago that there was a reasonable agreement amongst the 10 teams to delay the new regulations for a further year in 2023. And that was something that Ross Brawn stated that some of the teams were pushing for. I'd imagine teams like Williams and Haas and Alfa Romeo, possibly McLaren, pushing for another year. But Ross Brawn, he's put a stamp on it and saying that they are definitely coming for 2022, which, to be fair, is it is a sigh of relief that we now have an official date of when these regulations are going to be coming into play, because we know we were looking forward to them in 2021. The cars look good. They were sounding promising that we were going to get some actual racing, some good overtaking, and hopefully get the sport back that we once had. So it's good to see that we actually have a date, but as we all know, this pandemic is still going on and things can change very, very quickly. So we have to be patient. We have to be sure that, that this is the right decision. And to be fair, I think it is that we are getting the 2022 regulations. And of course, with the next story I'll be covering, which is linked into this, I think Liberty Media and Formula One, Ross Brawn, have hopefully hit the nail on the head, and that we don't lose any teams from the sport. Which then brings on to my next story, which is like F1's kind of new financial plan that they've got in place. So as we all know, there was supposed to be a budget cap of $175 million that was supposed to be set in stone along with these new regulations. However, the regulations were pushed back to 2022, but the budget cap wasn't. Now, there has been a few protests about this cost cap. Of course, with, like I said earlier, the pandemic going on, that this should be lowered to, I think it was 150 million, 145 million, and even to as low as 100 million, like teams like Haas, McLaren and Williams were all pushing for. But Ross Brawn has said that the budget will be going down, of course, subject to team approval, is $145 million. That is the budget that they'll be running for next year. Now, this has the potential to go lower should this system not work, because again, this isn't going to be an overnight fix. This is financially a long game, like a long-term thing, and teams that are suffering financially now will be hurting still, possibly in the next few years. So Formula One have to get this spot on. And as well, along with the new budget cap, Ross Brawn confirmed that there'll be a much more equitable prize fund in the new agreement. Now, this is something that a lot of people have brought up in the past about how unfair the prize money system is in today's, Formula One world. So, for example, in 2019, Mercedes received $66 million for winning the title, whilst Williams, who of course finished last, only received $15 million. Now, that is a big gap. Now, I agree that teams who finish higher than the other teams should get more money, but I've always said that is a big gap between 66 million and 15 million. Now, of course, not taking into consideration that Ferrari get $50 million just for turning up. Like, seriously, just for turning up. That's ridiculous. That needs to go. That has to just get rid of it. And I think there was talk of them actually dropping that at some point so that Ferrari don't have any influence in kind of the say of the regulations. Because at the moment, they've got this first team rule thing or whatever it is. I'm not too sure about it. I've always been against it. It's ridiculous. They need to get rid of that, sort out the prize money system. And again, this is the perfect time to do it. Braun also told Sky Sports that with the new cost cap and the new prize money system, that the smaller teams should finally be in the black rather than running in the red. Also, Liberty Media injected $1.4 billion, that's a lot of money, dollars to help the sport and the teams facing financial trouble. Braun is also confident that it'll prevent any teams leaving the sport. However, if one team does decide to leave, then it'll be a tragedy. Now, that for me is a statement. It will be a tragedy if one team does decide to maybe leave the sport or even go bust for that matter. Many jobs on the line. And yeah, I mean, of course, careers down the pan. Well, maybe not down the pan, but, people, being made redundant. That's not what we want to see in Formula One. And at the end of the day, from a fan's point of view, we want to see as many teams on the grid as possible. But I also want to kind of talk about Liberty Media in Formula One and, the guys behind the scenes. I mean, to be fair, they are working hard to ensure not only do we get racing back, but that we also manage to keep all 10 teams. Now, I respect that. I do respect that. Now, again, this isn't going to be favouring everybody. There will be some teams, some personnels, maybe some fans who don't agree with the new plan. Some points they'll go, yeah, that's good, and some points they'll go, that's ridiculous. In my opinion, I think we'll just have to wait and see how it goes at the end of the day, because there's the talk of, yes, it will make the sport more competitive, and they're saying, oh no, it won't. But at the end of the day, if we don't put it in theory and we don't see it in front of us and see the system work, then we're never going to know. It's just going to be speculation after speculation, which is, us F1 fans, we are good at doing. So I think I do have Liberty Media's trust. I know there are people out there who don't have Liberty Media's trust, but hear me out. I think, yeah, they are working hard to ensure that we do keep the sport going, we do keep teams alive, and of course that maybe we can get out of this at the end of the tunnel all in one piece. So yes, fully respect what they're doing. Again, maybe the bigger teams might not be happy with this because I know that they run at a bigger cost, a bigger budget, roughly about double that, really, about 300 million essentially. So of course they're going to have to reduce costs, possibly laying some people off because they're not going to need the facilities or that staff to do that part, purely because they're going to have to reduce costs. So that could be a negative in that sense, but at the same time we get to see that they will remain. Of course they will remain. Getting rid of some staff, again, that's a negative, but the positive is that we get all 10 teams, we keep them alive, keep them going, and we get to see some decent racing. Of course, let us know your opinions in the comment section below. And literally, that was an episode in itself. This is literally an episode in itself. I could have done a 10-15 minute video on its own. That's how much there was information to take in on this. So I hope I've gone through everything as best as I possibly can. And like always, guys, links to all the articles that I'm discussing today will be in the description below. So moving back onto racing now and looking at Renault. Yes, a team that we've never spoke about since the shutdown. Of course, Renault are always in the news. And one driver in particular that's in the headlines, apart from Sebastian Vettel, is Daniel Ricciardo. What is he going to be doing for 2020? Now, Alain Prost confirmed this week that they could potentially lose the Australian for free at the end of 2020. He did sign a 2-year deal when he joined from Red Bull in 2018, but there was no option for a 3rd-year extension. But however, Prost believes that he won't go back to Red Bull as Max Verstappen is, a quote, anchored there. Now, Ricciardo, I did cover a story a few weeks ago where Ricciardo said that he would consider possibly returning to Red Bull should he leave the team. But Prost said he doesn't believe this because Max Verstappen is, well, like I said earlier, anchored there. However, if Ricciardo does leave the team, whether that's to Red Bull or another team, which I'll get onto in a little bit, Academy driver Christian Lundgaard is poised to take over from Daniel Ricciardo should he leave. However, Prost has had his say on this, and he said that he would rather continue with Daniel Ricciardo rather than promote a young driver because of the current situation. Now, this is a thing that you've got to really take into account, that not only is there no Formula One, but there's no Formula Two, there's no Formula Three. And normally, if you have a plan to promote one of your drivers from the academy up to the big bad world of Formula One, you've got to watch their performances in the current series that they're in. So Christian Lundgaard is set to drive in Formula 2 with the ART team. Again, a relatively good team as well. I think they won the Constructors, I believe, or Teams Championship. So obviously he's got a good foundation, and yes, he is part of the Renault Academy. Danish driver Lundgaard there's a lot of riding on him. There's a lot of potential, and he's got a good fan base as well. I'm a fan of this guy. I like Christian Lundgaard. I followed him for a couple of years now since I first heard of his name. Of course, another Danish driver on the grid would be excellent alongside K-Mag. Again, if he stays, that's another question. But again, I think it is a bit too risky to promote them. Again, like what Alain Prost said, with the current situation, they've got nothing to assess Lundgaard on. Like, if they just promote him to Formula One with no experience or racing series behind his belt for 2020, if whatever happens with Formula 2, because I don't know what will happen to F2, then it's a big risk. And Renault are a team that want to go forward. They want to, get back to winning ways. They need to bounce back after a bad 2019, and to be fair, they need someone in there who will do a good job, which kind of throws it into the question. If Ricciardo leaves, I think we'll see the return of Nico Hülkenberg for 1 year. Now, flash your mind back to 2017, or the end of 2016, Nico Rosberg announces his retirement from Formula One. Shock, horror. Who saw that coming? Because I didn't, even though he signed a contract for 2 years during the mid-season of 2016. Shock, horror. Massa, on the other hand, was set to retire at the end of 2016. Now, because of Rosberg leaving, Bottas was replaced and Massa was called up last minute to have another year in Formula One. So if Ricciardo, one thing's clear with Ricciardo, he's not interested in going to McLaren or Haas or Red Bull. He wants to go to Ferrari. It's clear, it's obvious. I don't care what people say. That's where he wants to go. So he'll be watching there and monitoring the situation. Now, I don't think he'll go there. However, if Ricciardo does decide to leave Renault and they are looking for a driver, I think Nico Hülkenberg is the perfect person to turn to, purely because he's got experience, he knows the team, drive back in Formula One, maybe getting him another seat with another team, give him a year alongside Ocon, but it gives Lundgaard to get a season of F2 under his belt, and let's see how he does. And if he does well, then yeah, promote him and let's see how he does. But at the moment, yeah, I agree with Prost. I don't think it's a good idea to promote Lundgaard. I think Ricciardo will stay. Absolutely, Ricciardo will stay. It'll just make life easier because of what's going on. They don't want to have the hassle of getting in another driver, get them settled in, discussing wages and stuff like that, and just, yeah, it will cost them money, absolutely, and they'll have to get another driver in. It's probably cheaper to get Lundgaard in. However, with the current pandemic, I think Hülkenberg might take a pay cut, get him in for another year, and then promote Christian Lundgaard. What do you guys think in the comment section below? Let me know. But absolutely, I think Lundgaard is on the radar of Formula One. He will get there with Renault potentially. However, maybe not just yet. Let's see how F2 goes. I mean, F2 could get underway, and yeah, he could do well, get promoted that way, but with the situation now, I can't see it happening. So I think if Ricciardo does leave, then I think Hülkenberg will have another year at Renault. And finally, something that is keeping us sane without Formula One, which is, of course, is the virtual Grand Prix. Now, on Sunday was the Dutch Grand Prix. Well, it was supposed to be the Dutch Grand Prix. So, of course, without races, Formula One is hosting virtual Grand Prix, something that I've become a big fan of. I wasn't at the start, but I'm absolutely loving them now. It was held at the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. And you're probably thinking, hang on a minute, Jordan, that's not Dutch. Why didn't they do it at Zandvoort? Well, because they are playing on the F1 2019 game, and the Dutch Grand Prix circuit is not in there, so they've got to improvise and go to other tracks. So they chose Interlagos, and the race winner, in case you don't know, spoiler alert coming, is Alexander Albon. And to be fair, what a race it was. I was hooked from start to finish. So Stoffel van Dorn actually started on pole position in the Mercedes, and pretty much binned it as soon as lights went out. He just lost the rear and just careened into the wall, taking 1 or 2 out. Of course, no damage, so he was able to continue. And that allowed Albon and Charles just to run away with it. And it was just lap after lap after lap. It was Charles, then Albon, Charles, then Albon. I was getting stressed watching it. I don't know about you guys, but oh my word, it was so good to watch. However, Charles did the unthinkable, and he got a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits that a lot of people got on that day, which was a bit surprising for a track like Brazil, exceeding track limits. I would love to know where it was, because I know there are some things you can do on the F1 game that you can't do in real life that won't get you penalised. But obviously for this, it did. So Charles had that hanging over his belt, hanging over him throughout all of the race. It got to the end. Albon crosses the line first. Charles crosses the line second. However, Williams driver George Russell was 2 seconds behind the Monegasque driver, and he was promoted to second, and Charles was third, ending Charles's winning streak that could have been 3 if he had won at Brazil. And of course, his brother Arthur Leclerc also won the F2 race, both the feature and the sprint race on the race before the virtual Grand Prix. So running in the family. But Albon impressed at the last Grand Prix in China. Like he was going to win that race. He didn't. Charles beat him to it. Albon impressed me, and I was just happy to see Albon win. Albon even said after the race, speaking to the hosts in the esports arena, said that the pressure was unbelievable and that he was more scared of that than the real thing. Yeah, but to be fair, I've played a lot of online lobbies, and I would be a lot more scared of that than I would be of driving an F1 car, because it's just utter carnage. It's absolute utter carnage, guys, if you don't race online. So yeah, obviously looking forward to the next one, which is the virtual Spanish Grand Prix. So can't wait for that one. So can Albon make it 2 out of 2? Can Charles get back to winning ways? Can Van Dorn actually keep it on track? Or can Stuart Broad surprise us all and win a virtual Grand Prix? Yeah. Same as you guys. Same as you. But anyways, guys, this is where I'm gonna wrap up F1 24/7. Thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. If you're new around here, then please like and subscribe as well. Got some good F1 content coming for you this weekend. We've got our brand new video that we've got planned, which is agree or disagree. We've got you guys to give us some statements about Formula One opinions, and we just basically discuss whether we agree or disagree with those statements. So looking forward to that. That was a fun video to film. Of course, we've got the debate show coming out this week, as we do every Saturday at 6 p.m. UK time. And of course, we have got some more interviews coming up on F1 Online Decoded. Find out who will be the next one very, very soon. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care, stay safe out there, and until next time, I'll see you later.